because I want it to come out as a panel. Hi, everybody. Recruiting Animal here. I forgot to say the date last time. Everything's so different for me when I'm on Zoom. What's the date, Amy? March 3rd, 2021. Am I right? Yeah. Okay. Anyway,
I muted myself to not interrupt you. Yes, you're right. Carry on.
Anyone can interrupt, okay? That's for the guest. You can interrupt. Michael G. Cox is here now, too. Okay. The guest today is named Gergely Orosz. Okay, and here's how I'm going to introduce him. The guy complained that when he moved to England, all the recruiters were not interested in him because they didn't understand his Hungarian background, right? Oh, I went to a great school, he said, but nobody understood and nobody would give me a job. But here's a guy, his name is spelled Gergely, okay? He sounds like mouthwash.
Gergely.
You think he would at least change it to Jerry if he's speaking in an angle. He wants a job, his first job in an English-speaking country. Oh no, make it as hard as possible.
Yeah,
eh?
but I proved them wrong. I actually didn't share this, but there was this recruiter, this agency. I didn't know what agencies were back then, right? I was just a noob. I was not even a hiring manager back then. But I tried to call this guy who had a posting because they kind of like phrase what they were looking for and this amazing job. And he told me that he first pretended that he wasn't at the phone, and then I eventually got hold of it. I think he just talked to me because I tried calling them again, like I was doing the reverse, like trying to get through.
That's the signal. Speed it up. Get to the point.
Yeah, all right. And then I told him like I think I'd be perfect for the job. He's like, no, I'm sorry, it's only top 50 UK universities or PhDs, and you're not that. So then I figured out once I got the job, I actually got hired to somewhere else. It was the exact job this guy was recruiting for. And my colleagues told me that recruiters hated this company because they said no to everyone. So I sent an email to him saying, this company that you said I wasn't good for, yeah, I got it. Sorry about your commission.
Okay, well, I'll tell a better story about how you got your first job than that. Okay. Hi, Craig.
That was a great story.
Yeah, I liked it.
That was so rude to put the expectation on candidates to change their names so that North Americans, including America's hat,
no way, you're crazy. Oh, I forgot. You've become the diversity queen, okay? If
I'm the queen of everything.
Name from another language, hey, and it's your first job. Here's what he did, okay? He didn't say, first I didn't introduce him properly. His name's Gergely Orosz on Twitter. If you want to criticize him during the show.
The L is silent?
Yeah, it's G.
Yeah, the L is silent. That's a secret.
Let me spell it for you, Michael G. Cox. Hold on your horses. Gergely. That's his Gergay, okay? If that's easy to you, Michael G. Cox. And then Orose, Orosz. Okay, the SZ is just a plain S sound in Hungarian. Okay, thank God he has no more complicated vowels in there. Okay, you know what? If you've got a Polish last name with 100 consonants in a row, don't tell me that it's going to be easy for me, Amy Miller. Okay.
I'm sorry the world is not prepared to dumb down literally everything for you.
It's not dumb. It's not dumb. I said
no, it is.
It is.
No, it isn't.
Can I hold on? Let me get a confirmation. Yes, it's dumb.
Well, you could get Craig.
All the audience, it's dumb.
There's enough people to vote against me on this. Anyway, Gergely.
It doesn't take much.
Gergely is here. His claim to fame, everybody, is he used to be an engineering manager at Uber. Am I right? That is your main claim to fame. Am I right, Gergely?
That's one of them right now, but I'll have more. Don't you worry.
Okay, yeah, I said you're a young man. Okay, but he also wrote a book, and it sounds pretty good to me. What's the name of the book?
Well, this is the book. I think we should plug that. The book is great because Amy is in it. And this is a tech resume inside out that contains a little advice from me and a lot of advice from Amy as well. And it's about how to write a resume that doesn't suck, basically, as a software engineer. Because
hey, you know what? I didn't ask for that long a blurb. I asked for the name of the book and the URL, okay? And I was going to add, okay, what it is.
I feel like I've been a bad friend to Gergely and didn't warn him before he agreed to come on the show. Like,
don't worry.
I'm sorry.
You're going to come out of this, here's the guy, the star. All he's doing is setting you up to support him. Okay, that's fine. Okay, what's the name of the book?
She paid him.
What's the name of the book?
Before I answer your question, I'm trying to get allies here, and I think it's going pretty good. I have like 1.5 people. So, and in the show, I figured out that's real important. I think whenever we gang up against the animal, it's a good show. So the name of the book is The Tech Resume Inside Out.
No, that's just a normal show.
Hold on. It's called The Tech Resume Inside Out. What's the URL?
It's thetechresume.com.
thetechresume.com. Craig, I want you think for a second. I want you to do a plug for Talent Net. Not that anyone's going to see it, but hold on a second. Here's the selling point. You said, what's that girl, Lackman? She's the only one who's written a book about how to write tech resumes, and it's 10 years old. Yours is like a new generation of tech resume advice. Is that the best? That's a good plug, isn't it?
Pretty much. That's a good plug. No one writes about these things. People write blog posts and all that stuff, but no one goes to the effort of writing a book.
Okay, his
except
book is
for
20
I guess
bucks.
me.
His book is $20, and if you're employed, okay, or if you're a well-to-do software developer, don't ask him to give it to you for free. If you're poor, he will give it to you for free, okay? I'm just telling you, he's complained online. That's how I know. Okay, now I'm going to do an expose on this guy before the show gets going. Amy, first, Craig, I'll get back to you. Amy, everybody, Michael G. Cox, get ready to support him. But first, Craig has Talent Net a week from Friday. It's on March, what's that, the 12th, Craig?
Yes, March 12th.
March 12th. If they want, that's the online version of your famous Texas unconference, I would say, for recruiters. How can they go there? What's the URL?
All right, so it's talentnetlive.com. Always has been, always will be.
Okay. Michael G. Cox and Amy have been invited to join the Recruiting Animal Show on Talent Net. Ernie,
Nice.
Ernie, I'm inviting you now as well. I'll give you the URL when he gives it to me. It's going to be at 2:30 Eastern Time, 1:30 Central Time. Okay, now let me get to this guy. He's from Hungary. He goes to England and he wants a job. He can't get a job. He's got 3 months of money to live on, right? Finally, a recruiter he didn't say this, a recruiter gets him a job. As soon as he gets this job and people start seeing it on LinkedIn, I guess that's where other recruiters, they said, well, this guy's got a qualification, and they start calling him. So finally, this one recruiter who saved him, he stiffs the guy and takes a job someplace else. He accepts an offer and then he turns it down. They got him a job and he stabbed them in the back. Am I right or wrong? Let's vote.
You were right, and boy, they were pissed.
You think?
I mean, stabs in the back is kind of strong language, but
she doesn't want to come up, but she agrees.
I'm just saying, people do what is in their own best self-interest. That's what was in his own best self-interest.
Even if it means
and
stabbing
get
you in the
over
back.
it. Yeah. I mean, welcome to recruiting.
Yeah,
you think this shit doesn't happen every day?
You know what? When Amy's not losing any money and she wants to curry favor with this influence in the industry, man, that's life. That's life. Too bad.
My commission check.
Anybody else want to complain about that before or comment on that before I move on? No? Anybody?
Just sad. That's sad.
Just sad. Okay.
You hurt my recruiter heart.
Okay.
Cold black recruiter heart.
I was pretty polite about it, so I think I was, and there were actually two jobs that I did. So the first job, and then I got a second job. But on the second job, the guys were pretty assholes because they were like, "You have 24 hours to accept or else." And I said, "Okay, well, I need more time," and then they got upset. So
they were pretty assholes.
And when you said you're polite, that really changes everything. Yeah. It makes the recruiter that's trying to place you really feel good.
Yeah. Okay.
You ditched me, but you're polite. It's all right. He's polite.
Well, it's better than those if he was a total asshole. Okay, but here's the thing. No, maybe this reveals something that we should know about recruiting. Those recruiters, somehow they couldn't penetrate the fact that you had what they needed. They needed some kind of validation from the industry, okay, from the market, in order to recognize that you had potential. Is there any other way besides having you say, I've got a job already, someone else has screened me and approved me? Is there any way that they could have figured out that you're someone worth considering?
Well, I think they should have, because I had the reason I was kind of upset that no one talked to me. There was this competition called Microsoft Imagine Cup, which was the world's largest software engineering competition with 200,000 participants. I was number 3 worldwide, and I got a special prize. They flied me out to Silicon Valley. I had that as well.
Number 3, loser.
Yeah. Yeah, won the nationals, won the regional, and then like out of 16. But the US was like number 10, so still ahead of him. But
Okay.
yeah, so and I had work experience, so I thought I had a really ballin' resume going for me. But I think I could have messed it up by the format not being kind of the way it should be. It started with my photo, it started with Hungarian, it started with my birth date. I think
Here's
people
what
just
it
stop
started
reading.
with: Gergely.
Yeah, that's what it started with, exactly.
Let's brush our teeth together. Okay. Sorry. I might go to jail for that. I don't know. Okay, but I'm willing to make a joke. Now, sorry, I'm feeling nervous now. Okay. Yeah. One thing I was listening to this guy's got a lot of good videos. What's your YouTube account? Gergely Orosz?
Yeah, it's pragmatic engineer.
What?
It's pragmatic engineer.
If they put in pragmatic, okay, he's got lots of good stuff for recruiters and especially for job hunters. You seem to endorse the cover letter. Am I right about that?
Not really. No, I don't. I endorse it for like small companies where the hiring manager reads it. For large companies like the likes of where I worked at Uber and other places, I think just don't bother.
Okay, yeah, good. Okay, anybody got? Does somebody have a question for him before I get going? It's like 10 minutes in, we're just starting. Anybody want to ask him a question?
Wait, have you ever been a recruiter?
I've never been a recruiter. I've just been a hiring manager. I just like talking to recruiters. Actually, that's what people told me, that I talked a lot more with recruiters than most hiring managers. By the way, that's something I noticed at like these larger tech companies. Most hiring managers or engineering managers, they just kind of go in there and they just go with the flow. They never talk to recruiters. They're like, oh, can you bring me candidates? Can you set up this thing? They never even know how the process works. Now, this is not everyone, but I'm going to say, I say, Amy noted, I was really surprised because my first thing was like, hey, how are you
I'm agreeing
recruiting?
with you. Hiring
What are you
managers
doing?
the
How can I help
stupidest
you?
People in the world. Okay, they are
Huh?
very stupid. We get hammered. You hear it all the time. People are the most important thing. People are the most important thing, and yet people like you, not you, but people like you, they don't even care about the recruiting process, right? Why are they so stupid? Because now maybe it's because they don't want to put the time in. They're really busy doing a different job. Is that the
Well,
reason?
yes and no. I don't think anyone told these people. I just don't think they know that it's important. So the reason I knew it was important, because like we had 2 managers in Amsterdam. When I joined at Uber in Amsterdam, we had about 25 engineers, and later, like 2-3 years later, we had 150. And there were 2 teams. One of them had a really senior manager who supposedly seen it all, and my manager was junior. And like both teams were about like 10 people. Fast forward a year, my team grew by 20 people and the other team was still at 10 people. And the difference was that my manager, he told me, is like number 1 strategy is like be the best friends with your recruiter, sit with them, talk to them, help them. And this other manager, he didn't do any of that. He just kept changing his mind, and recruiters told me like he's impossible to work with. So our team grew, his team did not. We got his headcount, so that was great because we overdid our headcount,
Okay,
and they
now
just passed over.
Here's the thing. Were you just lucky that you had a guy who was with it, a smart guy? Because
Yeah.
Amy's here, so when I
Mhm.
quote her, just like Jerry, she can tell me I'm saying it wrong. But my impression is she has to go in and slap those guys around and say, "You listen to me, pal, or you're not going to get any people." Right? Is
Pay
that the way to
attention.
do it?
This is my area of expertise.
Yeah. Well, let's talk to a hiring manager. How should a recruiter make sure that this dummy in the other department that you were, essentially competing with in some ways or being compared to, how would a recruiter deal with a guy or girl like that?
And this question is for me.
Yeah, well, who am I asking it to?
I'm not a recruiter. Well, I think the other part to this is well, what you said is I think the recruiters should just also like our recruiters here, they also didn't do anything. So like they actually felt initially we had like 5 recruiters or so, but they didn't work at a place. Like, they felt it was a chore because my manager organized like weekly catch-ups with the recruitment team. And they're like, why should we come here? We're busy recruiting. And after 2 months, they're like, oh, it actually makes sense. So, just have regular catch-ups. And as a recruiter, like, I think this is important. You should just make sure you catch up with your hiring manager and just put a thing in their calendar and saying, this is important. And if we don't do this, you're not going to get any hires.
Okay, so here's what I'm getting. Hey, everybody, he's a bit verbose. I'll cut it down for you. It's a ship of fools or a chain of fools. Isn't that an Aretha Franklin song?
Yeah, no, it's a ship of lies, and recruiters are the barnacles.
No. He's got the dummy hiring managers and the dummy recruiters. They don't even know that they should be. They're not like you, Amy. They're not like you.
Such a shame.
There you go. Okay. Anybody else got a question for him? I got a big question coming up. Anybody want to say something? No. Going. Okay. Who's responsible for a bad hire? This comes up on, I've got a Facebook group called recruitingtricks.com. I post a lot of your stuff there now, Gairgay, and there was a big discussion around a different topic today, but here's a regular topic. Who's responsible for a bad hire? The hiring manager, these dummies we were just talking about, or the recruiters?
Totally the hiring manager. The only problem that you have at large companies, which is why I think the recruiting process is so friggin' conservative, is a lot of times I'm the hiring manager, I'm making the decision, but I don't know who I'm hiring for. This literally happens at better, or at some companies it doesn't. I know at Apple it doesn't, and maybe at Amazon teams recruit for themselves, but I was recruiting for a larger group, and sometimes I didn't know where it would end up. And this kind of sucked because sometimes I would take a risk, but sometimes we actually said no to people who probably could have been good, but they
I don't
weren't
get it.
coming for
Wait,
me.
explain.
Google's like that too.
Hold on.
Yeah, so-
why were you hiring for? Why wasn't the hiring manager of the team or the leader of the team making the big decisions? Why was it up the scale? Up the
Because
tree?
we're growing rapidly. We need to hire 30 people. We have 2 engineering managers, and we know in 3 months we'll have 4 engineering managers and a bunch of teams. And we just hire the people who are there, and they'll end up at whatever team it makes most sense when they start. Because some people, especially in Europe, sometimes they can start in 3 months, whatnot. So because of that, I'm literally not hiring for myself. Or I don't know if I'm hiring for myself.
Hold on. That's a big mistake.
Yeah.
Does anybody agree with me about that?
It's a fungible hiring process. Google does the same thing. You don't get to recruit for your team.
Fungible isn't Hungarian, but it might as well be. Okay. Lots of people.
Is it
don't
hard
know
for
what
you to
fungible
say?
means. Explain what that means.
It means that this is somebody like a traditional software engineer that could plug and play into any number of teams. So Google does the same thing. They hire through that same model where a hiring manager, when I was there anyway, I only recruited managers, so it was a little bit different, but I had great candidates not get an offer because hiring committee would look at them and go, oh, but they're really only good at this one specific thing that YouTube actually really needs. But since they really can only do this one job, we're going to say no, even though we desperately need somebody for this job. So it's a dangerous and really kind of dumb way of hiring. It works really well at more junior levels, but at the further up you get the food chain, it becomes a disaster.
And you also do it with hypergrowth. So we did have hypergrowth at Uber, which meant like we were literally doubling or tripling every year, and it would just go.
Okay, so when someone says recruiting is broken, here's a perfect case: is the hiring manager is recruiting for a job he doesn't know what the job is? Is that's right? Is that how recruiting's broken? Ooh, finally, I've got an answer. The hiring manager he's operating blind. That's the answer. Anybody want to agree with me? Based
all
on
of recruiting everywhere, randomly broken.
Okay.
But
Makes sense.
Sometimes I'll say sometimes they don't know what they're hiring for, or they don't know what they're looking for.
Sure.
And it's
That's
like
different.
show me the car, but in this situation we're talking about hiring people and then bringing on a team. It's no different than having a team and then hiring a new manager later on. But
okay, Ernie, you're giving the pornography version of hiring. I'll know it when I see it, right? I'll know it when I see it. I can't.
What the crap?
I can't say what obscene. Obscene. People say what's obscene. The judge said I'll know it when I see it, and that's what you're saying. The hiring manager doesn't know what he's looking for.
sometimes they don't know because when you ask them, you get down to it and ask them, what are you looking for? They start saying leadership, teamwork. How in the hell do you?
That's because you got to ask the question differently. The question is, what problem are you trying to solve? What happens if we don't hire the person? This thing doesn't get shipped. Okay, well, let's talk about the talent.
But you look, generally speaking, at like you look at job descriptions.
Yeah.
They never say that. What you're trying to fix. They're always team members. I mean, you look at most job descriptions.
So that's actually not true. So when I said I'm not
no, it is actually true. It is actually
it's not. No, it's you can't make blanket statements about an entire industry. Every job description ever written, every hiring manager, every
job description?
every recruiter.
Is there a job description that you've read that says these are the problems we're trying to solve?
Yes.
Yeah. And
I'll send you some of mine after the show.
Rarely does that ever happen. I would agree with.
I agree, it's rare, sure.
Yes, okay.
But I mean,
there's an exception to every rule, but as a rule, job descriptions, or I should say, job postings, really suck.
Yeah, but when I said I don't know what, I'm not the hiring manager who's hiring for, I knew which teams I was hiring for. I knew there was these 3 teams. It was in the job description. We're building a new cash team who we're building from scratch. We're building this other team and we're building this 4th team. The only thing was, and I was often recommending that this person goes to that team who didn't even have a manager. So my point was, as a hiring manager, I was hiring people for other people's team, which is why I was more conservative. So for my team, when I knew 100%, I would have taken, and I did take risks on some people, saying, well, you know what, this person is not there, needs some mentoring, but my team has it. But for the most part, that's not how it worked.
Were you the only one doing the hiring, or did you have other people that were part of that hiring team?
We had a pool of hiring managers. Basically, we had so many interviews. I was doing 5 interviews a week for months.
When you were growing so fast, what was your percentage of bad hires?
Well, we did a terrible job of measuring.
How about a number before you give a speech? How about a number? Okay.
I would say like 5% ish.
5% bad? We said no.
5%? Are you kidding me?
We said a lot. We said no to a lot of people who would have worked well. We actually rejected tons of people who would have worked out really well, which is how we kept it low.
Why did you reject good
You're a hiring badass.
Amy told us
5%. That's impressive.
Good people because they
don't forget this is Uber. This was Amsterdam. We were paying top of the market. We could get whoever. The only people who we couldn't close is people who got offered from Google. If they got an offer from Facebook, we closed them. Like we were paying top money in Europe. And
money doesn't solve hiring problems. So let's say you were doing really well and you were at 60%, positive hiring. That's more believable than 95%.
So you really think that 40%, 4 out of 10 would be bad?
Oh, no. But I don't believe that he was he was only making a mistake once every, what was it? 5% was bad. Come on.
So the mistake is like
1 in 20.
Yeah, those are people who got on pips later. Well, if we take into account, it might have been 10% because there were about 5% of people who quit after the first month who we oversold.
I can see that.
But that's not legit. I guess it depends on how you define a mishire. Because if your mishire is, they accepted the offer and stuck around for 90 days, which is what the outside recruiter is hoping for. Yeah, okay, I could see you getting close to maybe 60% of a positive hire rate.
Michael G. Cox, we get the point. You think he's a liar, okay? The guest is a liar.
I just think that's really high.
I think that's
he's either a liar or deluded, okay?
I hired 40 people last year and they're all still here and they're all still doing well. So
Amy,
Amy's lying.
Give you,
I'm just making shit up as I go. You know me.
Those numbers just come out.
She tweets about that all the time.
Praise. So what's with the picture of yourself?
Can't always be lying.
I want you to see my cup. Michael sent it to me.
Michael G. Cox?
Yeah.
Oh, isn't that
I can't
nice?
see
what
that.
Does it say? It's an ostrich?
It said, oh joy, another dipshit. I can't remember what it says. I have to look at it again. But anyway.
Oh, the cup is part of the picture with you.
The cup is part of the picture. I'm holding the cup.
Yeah, what a nice guy.
Look at the cup. He's a nice guy. Even if he does argue with me on the show, it's okay.
So our guest Our guest, the idea of retention is a very interesting thing. But first, I want to say, how do you judge a quality of hire? And retention might be a factor, although every recruiter says no. But also, let's say, isn't the recruiter responsible for giving the hiring manager a slate of really good candidates? So that would help the hiring manager make a good hire, right? Isn't the recruiter responsible for that? Gergay?
Yes, well, I think they
It's a
do what
face
they
like, what's
can. These are people you try to do as best as you can. You try to get those signals, but end of the day, like it's hard. I'm saying this because I've been on debriefs where I went there as a hiring manager or assistant design interview, and I was like, we need to hire this person, and in the end we didn't because there were some things. It's really tough, and also like. I was lucky, like Uber was a place where we did get the top candidates from across Europe. Word went around. It was pre-IPO. This was the days where it was hotter than Google. Everyone wanted to get in. So we had no shortage of people
Did
like
I get
this.
an answer to that? Can someone help me? I didn't.
That was a yes. That was a yes.
No, I think it was a no. I said,
I think it was the best effort. I'm like, yeah, you should try your best.
Okay.
And
what about
we
retention?
should think.
No. You let me guide you. Okay.
All right.
May I ask you a question? I have another
Just
question.
Ernie, just one sec. Okay. I just want to take up on what Michael G. Cox said. Retention, is that a factor how you judge a good hire? Or these guys who left after a month, does that mean it was a bad hire?
I mean, the way I would judge it is, was it a regrettable, like when they left, was it regrettable, or did they, did we have to put them on a PIP? Did they have actually performance issues?
Is not a yes, no kind of guy, is he? Okay.
No, you're not asking yes, no questions. You're asking rant. You're really not. It's impossible to just give a yes, no, because again, I know you don't like context, but some of us do.
If everyone bases it on retention, then you'll never hire the person that wasn't retained.
Yeah.
Why?
Right? You'll never. Well, because they were only at their last job for 2 months. And so you don't want to say, okay, that's not a good hire because they won't be retained and they'll leave. It'll be regrettable.
All right. Well, let me throw this in there because, for a fact, I was at Uber for 4 years. Everyone who ever reported to me was at the company. No one left in 4 years, 30 people. What does this say of me? And is this believable?
Good.
What does that say, Michael G. Cox?
And what does it say? And no
Did
one.
he make good hires?
that they were good hires, or that there were really bad options outside of your organization. I don't know.
Well, maybe he's a good manager.
Or he's a great manager.
All of them.
You're a great manager, but I think like maybe like you say, if they left in 30 days, but you're not going to miss them. So that's not a negative hire. If you're holding the purse strings and you're actually paying for this person out of your own pocket, did you get a return on that hiring investment after that 30 days? And if that's a no, I would say that's a negative hire. That's a mishire.
Well, you only get two options.
What did Greg want to say? Greg, speak a little louder. And Michael G. Cox, get rid of that echo if you can. Greg Fisher.
Yeah, you only get two options in a corporate environment. It's regrettable, or you had to put them on a PIP, and that's it. There's no in between.
What's a PIP? I heard him say before.
That's a plan where you have to say, you're on your way out if you don't do this, this, and this. And
Performance improvement plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Very popular in sales.
Ernie.
Okay. Now I can ask my question. Yeah, that was good. Now, when you all internal people hire people, how much weight is carried by someone that knows the candidate, or that the hiring manager knows the candidate, or a great employee that's within the department knows the candidate and makes a recommendation?
I would say it carries a lot more weight the more senior they are. So like typically like above senior levels, like staff or so. Under that, it helps them get to the interview. But if they, let's say, blow the coding interview, it usually is a no for more junior candidates. But other way around as well, for senior candidates, like staff engineers who are at the same level as director internally, we didn't hire anyone who did not come with a strong recommendation, because like they have such high expectations. So I would say the more senior it is, the more important it is. And that's why I recommend people like start build their network or just do good work, because you're going to like you're working in a workplace right now. In 5 years, you might get some recommendation from people who you just helped out.
Anonymous question for guest.
Yeah,
Test.
There's a dark side to it too, though. I mean, I totally agree, and I get where he's coming from. But I had a number of deals killed at Google because an internal reference from 10 years ago said, "Oh, I didn't like this guy." So I
Really?
mean, even
It's
oh yeah,
terrible.
oh yeah, all the
Yes.
time. And so there is value in data. Even if that data is, I worked with this person 5 years ago and they're great for these reasons, but there's also a dark side where somebody could be kept from even having an opportunity to interview because of a shitty IR. That's one of the things that I really struggled with at Google.
Yeah. Hey, Amy, did you mention dark side only because Anand was starting to use his little Yoda voice?
Yoda voice.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed
second.
it.
Wait,
I thought that was
I'm gonna
brilliant.
it's
Just say
halfway
yes.
through the
That's
show.
why.
Wait,
Yes, I am Anon.
Hey, I'm gonna do some ads. The ads are in abeyance right now.
You're allowed to do ads when you confirm that you've already billed them and they've paid.
No, I don't know if I'm gonna build them. I don't
I
know if
want
we're gonna
ads
get
if
any
people
money.
aren't paying for ads. Where's my ad?
I'd like an ad. Can
I
I
sell
have an ad?
t-shirts.
Amy, go ahead. We'll plug everybody. And go ahead, Amy. Do you have you want to plug your store?
Recruitinganyogapants.com. Check out the shop. I got so much snarky shit in there.
Say it more clearly.
That's a great tagline.
Recruiting
In yoga pants.
in yogapants.com.
And she's snarky. She sells snarky shirts, right?
Snarky
Damn right.
AF.
If you come at me on Twitter, I will put your quote on a t-shirt and not give you a dime.
Yeah, but watch out for those tank tops.
Or on
okay,
LinkedIn.
everybody.
Yeah, the tank top, I gotta redesign that one.
Okay, watch out for those tank tops. Gairgay, plug your book again, please.
And it's the Tech Resume Inside Out. Just search Tech Resume and you're gonna find it. It's recommended both for people who are looking for jobs in tech and for recruiters who want to recommend something. When you get like, hey, when you get those requests, can you review my resume? Just point them to it. If you don't have a job, they get it for free. If not, come on, it's $20. It's probably worth more than your time.
TheTechResume.com. Is that right?
Exactly.
TalentNet. Come on, Craig. Put that cup down.
TalentNetLive.com. We're going to have the Recruiting Animals show on TalentNet Live.
Right.
It's Friday afternoon. We're going to have Michael G. Cox talking about your LinkedIn SSI. It's going to be great. We're going to have a whole keynote session on pronouns, race, and language, which is going to be awesome with Torrin Ellis and Adi Barreto and Selly. She's going to be on there.
Okay.
And,
Awesome.
Yeah. It's gonna be great. And Lars is going to open up.
Michael G. Cox is the salesrecruiter.com or mikerecruiter.com. Okay, that's what I purchased for him, but then he went and got the sales recruiter.
I upgraded, so.
Upgraded. Okay.
What a
Well,
nice
it took a
gift.
long time. I had to buy him something out of my own pocket, not from the well.
Why
maybe from
didn't
the-
you buy me a domain? I had to go get notcarolbaskin.com all by myself.
I'll get you a
That's
domain.
awesome.
Look, if he can buy you a cup, I can get you a domain. Tell me what you need.
Yeah.
Okay, Ernie's the next guy for a domain. Foodrecruiter.com is what I'm going to look at. Okay.
All right.
Ernie is a recruiter for the food industry, production managers and stuff like that. And now
VP.
I have something to advertise, recruitingsplits.com. If you're an agency recruiter and you've got a candidate but no job, or a job but no good candidate, go to recruitingsplits.com, see if there's someone there who can match up with you. This is the deal. It's 60 days for free. You don't have to pay anything. You can see if it's worthwhile. No extended commitment. Okay. So, if it's after 60 days, nothing happens, just forget about it and you won't owe anything. Okay. Oh boy. Okay. So where did we leave off? Did I have something? Okay. He determined
Mine.
this pro said that the hiring manager, Rich Rosen's going to be very happy. The hiring manager is to blame for all the bad hires. I think he said retention doesn't count for a quality of hire measurement. Did we establish any other great takeaways for the audience? Was there anything else?
That you can do internal hiring, and it's
Marrying
within a
references
family.
are not to be trusted. That's what Amy just said. References not
What
to
did I
be
say?
trusted.
References are to be read with a nice, healthy grain of salt.
Okay. Yeah.
They need to be
Okay.
grounded in data. I work with this person. We were on this same project. They shipped this feature in time under budget. That's valuable data. I work with this person and I don't like the way they dress. I've seen it. I've seen it cause people to not get interviews, and it's bullshit.
Okay.
But
I
that's the way
like
it
that.
starts. It starts with, you should hire this guy.
And he's nodding. You see,
Or
I
you
don't know
shouldn't
what
Tell me
you're looking at
why.
here, but this guy is nodding. The influencer, the tech influencer, he's nodding. And I got a question about resumes. Okay, that's one of your pro areas. I researched you. We could go for 5 hours. Okay, but this resume thing, is it true that there are people who are really good and you'd want to hire them, but they write a resume so bad that it misrepresents them and you overlook them? Is that true? I know you did that yourself by putting all that Mudjar stuff in yours, but what about other people?
Yeah, but it's true. Especially the more junior, the more it is. It goes down to how many applicants you have incoming. When you've got a bunch of applicants, 100 applicants, you have one head count. You're just gonna glance over stuff, and if people didn't put
Let's
things
take the juniors.
obviously,
Let's take the juniors who don't have much to offer out of it.
yeah.
Let's take somebody with 3 or 5 years experience who could do a great job, but you look at the resume as a recruiter or a hiring manager and you say, nothing here. When in fact, there's a lot there. And the problem is this dummy didn't write a good resume. And that's why he needs your book or she needs your book. Okay. Is it true that people write resumes so bad that good people get looked over? Let them think of that. Does the recruiters want to comment? Let's go around. Amy first. Are you awake?
I'm awake. Sorry, what was the question?
I knew it. You weren't awake.
No, I think, but here's the thing, and I've had this conversation with hiring managers where they'll say, "Oh, well, that resume is not great," and I'll say, "I'm sorry, are we hiring professional resume writers or are we hiring mechanical engineers?"
Do you
And
raise
that's
your
why
eyebrows when you do that?
I do. Sometimes both of them.
But Amy,
If it's just one.
you're saying that you were able, that we're not talking about the
Yeah.
dummy hiring managers now. You were
Okay.
able to look at the
Talking about dummy
resume.
recruiters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, you were talking about a smart recruiter. You could look at the
Mhm.
resume and say, this is a good candidate.
Yeah.
So the resume couldn't have been that bad. Okay. It's the dummy, maybe they're the hiring manager who's responsible for all the bad hires. He or she was making the mistake. This resume was discernible. Ernie, are there
Mhm.
any resumes that are
Well-
so bad that you're going to miss a good candidate?
Yeah, but it starts with the candidate. It starts with the resume being written, one resume for every job they apply for. You have to kind of go back and look at the job description, figure out what they need, and then write your resume according to what his company wants, her company wants, their company wants.
Okay.
And then you
Amy
send it
told us, both these, Amy, the big tech people here, Amy and Gairgay, both told us that they don't, the hiring manager, they don't know what they're hiring for because it's a generalist they want. And you're saying that the
Not
resume,
always.
if it's a generalist resume, it's no good. It's got to be tailored to a specific job.
And I think they all should be looked at. You should have a resume that you consider to be a master resume that has every achievement you have, every accomplishment, and it could be 40 pages. And then when you apply for that job, for that company, for that title, you then look at your master resume.
But they don't know. You're missing the point. They don't know what they're hiring for.
You got to pay. This is ahead of the time. You then take that resume and you edit it for that job. The next job, you look at the job description, but what people do is they just send out their resume.
I got to move on. We got so many people here.
No, here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. No, sir.
He has to move on because a good point was made.
Yeah, exactly. We can't let good points stand. If a candidate can't make it clear in their resume that they are a particular title doing a specific thing, they're not a good candidate. Okay. I mean, I think that's a fair statement.
But then
that's not what he said. That's not what he said.
Let's go back. Let me talk. When we're doing
this, let me just greet Rich. Rich, the guest just agreed with you. I just want you to know every time it comes up, Rich always says the recruiter is not responsible for a bad hire. I think he is, but the guest agrees with you. Gairgay, in case you don't, Rich is a big biller. Just so the big biller agrees with you.
Biller.
Okay, Ernie, try to defend yourself, but let's move it on. Okay.
I was just going to say, when you do the resume and you make your changes, sometimes there's a difference between somebody that receives it from an internal to somebody that's an agency recruiter. You look at him, you look at the resume, you call him, you talk to him, you find out, you know what? Hell, you know a hell of a lot more, and it's not on that resume. Let's put it on that resume so the hiring manager will see it. And then how you place it.
You do that all the time. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, let's fix it up. Let's put some makeup on this thing.
Okay.
And then-
What do you want the hiring manager to know about you?
Okay, so
Yes.
now you're both saying that there are resumes where they're just so bad, the hiring manager for the recruiter's smart, but the hiring manager isn't. Okay, Craig, you want to get in on that or what?
The recruiter's always smart.
Greg,
Yes.
Frank, any
Can you-
comment? Any
yes, hold
comment?
on. Coming.
You don't have to.
Yeah, I want to. Hold on. Where's my? Damn it!
Where are you?
I couldn't find my.
See, Gairgay,
Okay.
it's going to
So-
come back to you. You can use all their info to formulate your answer. Go ahead, Craig.
Yeah, so there was an interesting thing about hiring managers wanting recruiters to only give them the best candidates that Amy was talking about on Twitter yesterday.
I sure was.
And I thought this was very interesting. And I think that when recruiters are too scared to hand the manager a diverse slate of the best candidates because they know they won't get hired, the best candidates is kind of a biased thing to say.
I'm just trying to figure out how we're defining best.
Hold on.
Thank you.
This guy's changing the
I
topic.
keep asking.
Don't
and
do
I haven't
that.
gotten
Very
an
nice
answer.
pivot,
I'm
Greg. Very
too
nice
smart.
pivot.
It's the
I'm
Craig
too
show
smart.
now.
That was good, Greg. That was good, Craig. That
If
was
you
good
guys
the way
want,
you
if you
changed
guys want to get to that and have her, go on her rant, I'm ready for it. Okay.
I want to hear the stupid rant because
No,
I
no,
don't
no.
get how best is
Let's-
a bad term.
let's
So
finish
Amy, I
this.
do love the background.
The guest.
I'm not saying best is a bad term. I'm just trying to understand what it means.
She's
I think
so
you're
hard to
overthinking.
pin down. Okay.
I think-
You can't do it on Twitter. She's really slippery, much more than I ever would have imagined. Rich, quick answer. Rich, is it possible for a good candidate to write a resume that's so bad that you can't tell that the person is a good candidate?
Absolutely. Like I do sales guys. So if a sales guy can't sell himself on paper, you can't write your highlights and there's no discernible successes. It's pretty bad.
Okay, but you just said that it's possible.
That's an absolutely fair call out.
No.
Seriously.
Rich just contradicted himself.
that
First
picture
he
on
said,
camera.
yeah.
I don't think he
Contradict myself.
did. You have to look at it through the lens of what's expected of this candidate. I don't expect a software
I'm
engineer
tired of this
to know how to
question.
sell themselves. I do
Gairgay,
expect a salesperson
I'm
to do
tired
that.
of
To
this.
Rich's point.
Gairgay, do you wanna get in on this now, or Michael G. Cox, you have a quickie? Or
Could you summarize
think
that?
Ernie said everything. Like,
Yeah, Ernie said-
What about a pre-sales
Ernie didn't
engineer?
say. Ernie didn't say
I
anything.
said
okay?
I said everything.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
I want to jump out.
Thank you, Chief.
Yeah, I come across a lot of sales resumes, quote unquote sales resumes that don't know what they actually did. They can't document percentages and like, okay, so you're good at sales. How much did you improve sales last year? Did you grow gross profit margins, or
You hit your
do you even know
quota.
what gross profit margins are, or are you just selling everything cheap?
Yeah,
Okay,
you have
hi,
to
Kendra.
speak to your expertise. That may be
Every niche is
sales,
a
that
little
may be
different.
Yeah. Okay.
software
Look, we got a
development,
guest.
that may
Okay.
be
Let's spend a
recruiting.
little time with him. You're welcome to come back. I like you, Gairgay. So you can come back if we don't get to ask you any questions, really. But here's something.
We promise we'll ignore you again.
Here's the thing, okay, is you said clearly that the recruiter, you warned candidates, don't judge a company by the recruiter. The recruiter might be somebody you really don't like, and you won't know what the company's like until you actually speak to the engineering team, okay? Or on the other hand, you might really like the recruiter, and the rest of the company, they can be real bastards. Don't judge the company by the recruiter. Do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, it's just they're two different. So I agree with it. I stand by this. Some people I talk with don't agree with it, but they're two different functions. Sometimes the recruiters are contractors, sometimes they're new. It can be just very different. I mean, when things are super disorganized, probably the company will be disorganized. That's how we used to be at Uber, and then it became a bit more organized. But it's two different things. Report differently. The metrics are different. Everything's different. So,
If someone's got a burning feeling about that, rather than go around to everybody.
Yeah, I don't think you can judge an entire company by a single person, no matter what seat they're in.
Okay.
You shouldn't, but it happens a lot.
Okay.
It does happen, but I think it's silly.
And
People
also, Rich
do.
just closed
I
the
think-
deal. Wanted to make note of that. Rich.
I was gonna say, I saw some wheeling and dealing going on there. So Good job,
Thank you
Rich.
for the notice.
Okay.
Yeah, and I guess the last thing, a lot of people think of a company as like a person, as like, oh, if a recruiter mistreated me, the whole company is, a bastard. But it's not like that. Like, I think people just like, you see this when you're a hiring manager, when you're a recruiter. I think you all get it. People don't get it. People will tell me like, nah, I don't want to accept it because the recruiter was rude. And I think the company will be rude. Well, that's stupid.
It's dumb, but you know what? The candidate experience matters more than ever right now. And when these companies they treat these candidates like cattle, they lose candidates left and right. I have one company now where they literally just going to pay us, a $30,000 fee just to throw resumes to them. Then they immediately send them a test before they even talk to them. So I have to tell the candidates, I'm like, listen, do it, don't do it. I don't really care. But if you're interested, this is the steps.
Rich, is that before they've even applied for the job?
It's you apply, like I'll put their resume in the system, and then it's a big PE firm that does this. And I'll put their resume in their system. And then next thing is HR sends an automated email to them saying, hey, take our assessment if you want to talk to us. So it's an hour-long time test, cognitive, all this other silliness. And if you don't get a certain rate, you're out, period.
And this is probably after a long application process.
It's not too long, but it's just the whole principle of it is just ridiculous.
Okay, I got a big question for if the answer's going.
Yeah. So whatever about the question, the what I call that, Rich, is the prom queen syndrome, where they think they're the only game in town, and people are going to stand in line to dance with me. Man, get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Is anyone under the mistaken impression that your average just line recruiter, such as myself, is the one that's making the decision to put that bullshit out there?
No, God.
Y'all need to go talk to the CHRO.
Hold
or
on a
somebody.
second. Gairgay makes very
That is
clear.
not my decision.
No, it may not be your decision.
Let me speak for Gairgay. He says that the candidates don't know anything. They have no idea about the process. Am I right, Gairgay?
Well, you just spoke for him, though. You don't need to say anything. You just spoke for him.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
It's not.
We're asking him a
You
question.
don't get to talk till your second episode,
I say these guys' ideas better than they do every time. Okay.
Yeah, if you could just keep posting stuff online, 8 years from now, you'll be a guest, but you won't be here.
I can only imagine how you're going to
Gergay, you said this thing in 1992. Want to talk about it?
Yeah.
What? Huh?
He was 10 years old in 1992.
Wait,
okay.
Animal,
So
I graduated high school in 1992.
Wait, you know what? You may want to actually post a link to your show because you can't find it.
it's
So,
Bitch
I'm just
Fest.
saying.
It's Bitch Fest. I
Bitchfest.ca.
posted it. Okay.
I was
posted
used
it
for
all
that.
over.
I was the muse
Yes.
for
Oh,
that.
nice. Very nice.
Okay.
I'm putting
found
that
it-
on my
hold
resume.
I found it on a comment she made 6 years ago. Okay. So there you go.
Obviously.
Gairgay. Okay. You said that an engineering manager should really not come from a non-engineering manager role. He or she has to be have functional experience in order to understand what the engineers are going through. What's your take? And you describe what I'm going to call a good interview process and a bad interview process. And in the bad interview process, you point out that the recruiter might not have any technical background at all. That's one of the signs of a bad. So how much functional experience should a recruiter have for the roles she is recruiting on? Go ahead.
Oh my God.
I think you can do whatever. Like when the recruiter has more experience, they can get better candidates and they can prepare them better. But when they have less, like we just work with what we have. Like what I usually do is sit down with a recruiter saying, all right, you're going to do a screening call. Here's what I would need you to screen for. Can you do it? And a good recruiter will say like, I actually cannot, because I'll be like, I want you to send people on site who, have built some projects, can describe their things. I'm setting some expectations. Some recruiters, the more technical ones, are like, I can actually go deeper. Like, tell me what your team is doing. So it's a game. Like, I'm not expecting the recruiter to be able to gauge technical skills. What I do expect them is to get the soft skills and to get people who are failing in communication or just kind of describe stuff.
What soft
there.
skills?
And,
when you say soft skills, what do you mean that the recruiter's discerning the soft skills?
communicating, being able to describe projects, just talking, because a lot of large companies, half of what software engineers do actually is coding. The other half is communication. And the communication is where the recruiters can really do this. Every time, like, when we talked about the regretful hires, half of my regretful hires are people who were just terrible at communicating. And it was impossible to fix.
Half of that 5%, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's it.
I got a follow-up
that
question.
one guy.
The 2.5 people in 1973.
Can I add a follow-up
You got
question?
it.
Craig's soft voice. He's a nice guy. Go ahead.
Is my voice too soft? Am I not
Yeah,
talking loud
come
enough?
closer to the mic.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
I'll come closer to the mic. All right. So the engineers that I know now, so I'm associated with a job board for engineers called knack.io. And it was built by a bunch of engineers plus one recruiter. I never like software that's not got any recruiters in it that's for recruiting. All right. But they are all Slack channel guys. They very rarely ever speak to each other by voice. It's all on Slack channels. So how does a recruiter judge soft skills when Slack channels and collaboration platforms are all the engineers use now?
Well, that's a good question. I used
I
to
can
recruit
answer
in
that.
Amy, go.
So I'm not technical, obviously, but I've got a really good bullshit detector. Okay. So if you're not able to talk me through start to finish the SDLC that you did to get this thing shipped or whatever, that's bad communication. So it's less about, are they speaking proper English or are they super clear and enunciating everything? It's not about that. It's about being able to verbalize and explain in simple terms what it is you did, what you accomplished, and what was the end result.
If they don't have functional experience, how can they know, the recruiter, how can she or he know that the communication is actually effective? He can't understand what the person's talking about, really.
Which
Gairgay.
actually is good because you want engineers to be able to explain to non-technical people like product managers, data scientists, ops people. So what we typically ask them is ask them to explain the project that you built like I don't know tech. So and that's the kind of screening we're looking for. So it's a bonus when a recruiter has that technical skills, and they usually use it to actually get some more questions. They try to coach some of the interviewers. But by the way, those recruiters, they typically become software engineers after a while. I've had now 2 of them.
I've never heard of it before, but he says,
I've heard of that.
Really? I've
heard of it.
Sources.
They
Some
figure out how much
pays a
software
little
engineers
better.
make.
Some sources do that. This guy's a diplomat, in his writing.
But he's a good manager.
No, in his writing, he's pretty straightforward.
Apparently the best, 100% the best.
Yeah.
Anybody else got a question for him?
5%.
We're running out of time. Anybody or Gairgay, hold on. Is there anything you'd like to tell recruiters? You've got a bunch of them here right now. Anything you'd like to tell us after all your experience? Burning?
Yeah, I'm going to say something. I've met this one recruiter who I think is the best recruiter ever. And the reason she was great is she came to a hiring manager and saying all right, here's how I work. Here's how I do, and here's how I ship results. Now you tell me how you work, and let's figure out how we work together. Only this one person did it. She was hands down the best recruiter ever. So any recruiter, when you work with the hiring manager, I would suggest you do that. I loved it, and everyone else loved it. Every other hiring manager loved it.
Was that Amy?
Yeah,
No,
sounds like
Sounds like me, doesn't it?
Amy. I thought, yeah. Although you didn't say she slapped you around first.
I mean, I don't, but listen. This is
Tried
what
to
my
sell you
director,
some
my
swag.
hardware director said when he first joined our team, and I inherited him. I was here first. And he said, you know what, Amy, I believe if my recruiter is not my best friend, I'm doing it wrong. And let me tell you, I will work my ass off for this man because I respect him. I believe in what he's building, and he gives me the same respect that Gairgay's talking about with the recruiter he just talked about. It's a partnership. I will never use the word support when I'm talking about how I work with my clients, because even though he's a director 2 levels above me, we're equals when it comes to hiring.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's how independent recruiters should be too with their clients. I mean, I don't know why
Partnership.
recruiters work on deals, spend a lot of time on deals, I should say. When that's
You're the guy, this is the guy who's telling everyone fire your clients, right?
Absolutely. If they treat you like shit, why would you not?
Okay.
I mean,
True. That's true.
My memory's so short. I
depends
had a
if you wanna
burning
make money or
question
not.
for Gairgay before we finish, and I can't remember what it was now. It was a great question too.
I believe it.
All the unasked questions are great ones, aren't they?
No, this
Every
was
time.
great.
95% of them, I
very
think. About
profound.
95%. Yeah.
Yeah, hold on. It had to do with what you guys were talking about with, okay, here's what it was. Okay. It's about getting the hiring manager to
This better be
cooperate.
good.
You know, usually they only want to give you 5 minutes of their time. And you yourself said that they're really busy. But if you're going to have an effective recruiting process, they have to devote tons of time to it, and it's really worthwhile. Like they have to do tons of interviewing. Okay. Go ahead. Shoot.
Yeah, they need to do it. And
They
by the
have
way,
to.
a lot of hiring managers, I don't think they know it. Like here's the truth. Like I think all recruiters should know. Most hiring managers have no clue. As a recruiter, you at least have an idea what you should be doing. You need to hire people or you're gonna get fired. As simple as that. Hiring managers, and explaining the thing, you don't get training usually. You're told to manage a team, but they don't tell you you're responsible for hiring. Like we have no clue. I had no clue. The only reason I had a clue because my manager actually mentored me. So as a recruiter, you need to coach, like especially when you work in an environment where it's first time or they don't know. You're better off telling them like, hey, here's my job, and I think here's what your job is. You'll help them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to set the right expectations. And it also, you have to get them thinking about, it's not just, I have to go hire another engineer. It's, I'm building this company. By doing this, by
You know
building,
what? She's got the picture of herself in the background, and now she's
Read the
building Amazon. Yeah, Bezos, he stepped down. Here's his
look,
replacement.
I'm just saying,
His replacement right here. Hold on, Gairgay.
I'm an equity holder too, so I care intimately about this stuff, okay?
Gairgay, this is probably your last question. Here's the thing. You know, a recruiter will want the hiring manager to go through her whole list of LinkedIn connections and help her find prospective candidates, people. So that takes a lot of time. These up-to-date modern recruiters want to get the hiring manager on a video and put her right into the emails that are being sent out talking about the job. They want to get the hiring manager to do the phone screen. This is a lot of time. How do they get the hiring manager to do that? Are they going to get the hiring manager to do that? Okay. We don't like general answers. Oh yeah, you have to. We like specifics. Go ahead.
Well,
General questions, but specific answers, just so we're clear.
Yeah, I mean, the answer is yes, you would get the hiring manager if you ask. My experience is recruiters never ask, and they do this. In fact, recruiters often don't. They respect, at least at Uber, they respected our time so much that they would close the candidate would refuse, and I was like, what? And they're like, well, we thought you had an important meeting. Hell no, like I wanted to be there to actually close the candidate, and I had to go back and actually close them. So actually, I think at least in tech companies, recruiters respect and imagine hiring manager time is too valuable. It's not. You should ask for help. Like
I will give this as much priority as you do, Mr. Hiring Manager.
Exactly.
30 minutes a week, that's all I'm asking you for. I'm asking you for 30 minutes a week. We review all the activity. We do a little sourcing. We look at our networks together.
So
if this is not a priority for you,
Yeah.
I got other shit to do. I'll see you at the next company
We got
meeting.
Amy, the self-professed introvert, and Rich, who is not a self-professed introvert, and they're both the tough guys. They say,
I gotta go take a
"I'm
nap
laying
after
it on
this."
I am laying it on the line with you, okay? And you've got the diplomatic hiring manager. Oh yeah, that's what I want. Yeah, yeah. We know that's not what they want, okay? We know that's it. They're just too stupid. That's why he's firing his clients. Okay, anybody? We're almost done. Gairgay, you want to say something? I'll just say the things we didn't get.
I've never been in a room
equity.
with this many recruiters and this opinionated recruiters, and I'm really happy that I survived. So thanks, guys.
Everybody
You're
talked.
great.
Nobody gave you a chance. You didn't. This was no test. Okay. What's the name of your book and the website?
It's the Tech Resume Inside Out, and it's thetechresume.com.
Okay, and the Pragmatic Recruiter on YouTube. This guy, he's a little different. He's a showman. Okay, he likes getting
The pragmatic recruiter that isn't a recruiter. I'm confused.
The pragmatic
engineer. Okay, thanks. You know, sometimes
Exactly.
I make mistakes. Okay. Anybody else want to say anything before we go? Anybody?
Just thank you for being here. This was
Yes,
great. We
thank
need
you,
more hiring
everybody.
managers on the
Great.
show.
Gairgay, I'm going to ask you back again, but you can say no if you don't. If you don't like it. Bye, everybody.
I'll be happy to come back. But question: have there ever been hiring managers on the show? Because I searched for
No,
them.
we haven't. It's very hard for us to get hiring managers.
But when you're ready to hire salespeople, let me know.
Yeah. But hold on one thing. I'll
He will fire you.
When you need another senior recruiter, let me know.
There you go. There you go. You don't ask, you don't get, right? Come on.
Starting where to get myself into.
This
All
guy's
right,
got
awesome.
tons of
Thanks,
information
everyone.
about negotiating and equity, and I thought we were going to get to that.
We should talk about that. That would be a
That's
good
the
one.
next time.